and a 2 and a 3. Close. We were there. Welcome to a new round of SDH AM. John, who are you there? Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. It's a Wall Pass Wednesday, which means pretty much anything's on the table. And I know that we're going to be spending a lot of time discussing what happened yesterday at Atlanta Stadium involving Argentina look, I can say it this way. I mean, it was a comeback for the ages. Doesn't matter necessarily what competition we're talking about. It was a comeback for the ages. We'll get into the highlights and the discussion about everything there. And we'll go into what happened in the matchup after that in Vancouver that took a while to determine who the eventual opponent was going to be for Argentina. Bart Keeler is going to join us in hour number 1 from the Soccer for USPod. We're going to break down, since we didn't have the chance to yesterday, considering it was a match day, it's an opportunity for us to kind of do a bit of a post-mortem on the USMNT. And also, in hour number 2 to kick off hour number 2 after the hydration break, it'll be Dylan Butler from MLSsoccer.com. We do have some transactions to get into, and it involves a lot of money, involves a couple of different teams. And we'll see where folks are as they're kind of gravitating back toward life in Major League Soccer, which is going to actually kick back in 9 days. Atlanta United makes their way up to Nashville to take on Nashville SC. And so MLS's schedule is going to kick back in, and we're going to catch up with Dylan about what he thinks about what he's seen about the World Cup. But like I said, the transactions as well. Next week, we'll kind of get into the preview into what to look out for as we're heading into the schedule for MLS as they go for their sprint between July and the playoffs. And then you get like a day and a half off, and you're back in training camp. Then it's the sprint season, and then it's the season to align you with everyone else on the planet. So we'll catch up with Dylan in hour number 2. But like I said, we're going to spend a lot of time looking at Argentina and Egypt in and around what we saw with the USMNT. Then we'll get into AM news and get our UPSL update. Just to let you know the grid for the rest of the week. Tomorrow we're stacked. Power Hours in hour number 2. Keeler Hodges from the USL show is going to be joining us at 9:30. And then also on the board, it is going to be batting leadoff. We're going to find out about a show on Tubi called Raising Her Game. And for those of you that might be in a position to grab Tubi, we're going to catch up with some of the principals on Raising Her Game. And it is a 3-part docuseries on the rise of Title IX women's sports in U.S. soccer, done through the Texas Longhorns soccer team and their conference championship run in 2022. So the series was released a week ago, and so we're going to catch up with some of the particulars when it comes to Raising Her Game on Tubi. That's been out about a week. We'll catch up with them batting leadoff. So tomorrow is Raising Her Game on Tubi, the docuseries about Texas in 2022. Then Keeler Hodges, then the Power Hour. That is, that is your Thursday. Friday, obviously, we'll catch up with our friends from Apple TV. Jake Griffith is going to be joining us in hour number 2. Jake, for those of you that may not, or you might recognize a voice but not a name, Jake does a lot of the USL activity on all of the other platforms that are available for USL viewing when it comes to Championship and USL League One. You get to hear him on the Plus. You get to hear him on the YouTubes. You get to hear him on all of the networks that house everything USL. Jake is also the play-by-play voice for the Minnesota Aurora. And we bring that up because the USLW is in their league semifinals this weekend. It is Salmon Bay and Minnesota Aurora, and it is Asheville City and Vermont Green. And so we're going to catch up with as many of them as possible between now and the weekend. Friday's kind of a travel day for Asheville City and for Minnesota Aurora. So we're catching up with Jake at the tail end of the show on Friday to find out about the season in USLW, get our education about Aurora, his study hall as he's getting ready for Salmon Bay. And we'll see if we can catch up on the Eastern Coast side of things with Asheville City and with Vermont Green, and we'll run that. We'll figure out where that is, if it's going long on a show on either Thursday or Friday, and we'll let you know what that turns out to be. But we're going to start our USLW National Semifinals coverage late on Friday, catching up with Jake. Also, the US WNT's U20s, they have a training camp going on down in Fayetteville, and we will be down there tomorrow because they have a friendly against England. We'll be down there covering that. We'll have that sound for you as well on Friday, and that'll be on the network as well. So that is your rundown of the week and what we know right now. Morning, David. Morning, Abby. And it is, it is, like I said, it's one of those mornings where you're kind of catching up on everything, and you're sitting there going, what have I missed? And where are we going? Because we now have another round of exits that is attached to losses and such. We'd mentioned Roberto Martinez and how he is out the door at Portugal. It is the end of his contract. But now, according to our friends at Talk Sport, he is emerging as a contender for the Scotland job. Once again, exiting in the round of 16, our friends at Talk Sport sit there and say Scotland's on a hunt for a new boss after Steve Clark stepped down. Reports in Caledonia have named Martinez as a possible candidate for the job, citing his links with Scotland. Swansea, Wigan, Everton manager played for Motherwell and met his Scottish wife there in 2002. Ange Postecoglou was considered, but he has taken the Al Nassr gig. Alex Crook from Talk Sports insisting that Martinez to Scotland could have legs. He was linked to the Celtic job earlier this summer before they reappointed Martin O'Neill. Crook says he was told a while ago that Martinez potentially was a contender for Celtic. Have to take a huge pay cut from what he's been earning as Portugal manager, obviously. Or Crook says the SFA might need to find a bit of outside investment, much like the U.S. have done with Mauricio Pochettino. So Martinez is an interesting contender. So Roberto Martinez being linked to Scotland, once again, it's early on. Man's just out the door, and now he's being linked to other gigs. And I gave Bart Keeler the option. I said we could do one of two things. I said if you think you're going to be just a half hour on a bunch of different things, because we do have reffing down here attached to yesterday, and I know I'm just springing that on him, but he's not necessarily surprised. But we have yet to do the real beginnings of a post-mortem on the U.S. men's national team after what happened in Seattle earlier in the week. So, of course, I look in the green room and I see Bart after the monologue. So that means that Bart's going to go longer than 30 minutes, which is nothing wrong with that. I now know where Bart is coming from. So we bring Bart Keeler in. And have you recovered, sir, from the last couple of days?
Candidly, no, because I also obviously worked the game yesterday as a volunteer. So that was a long day in itself, following a long day before that. And to be frank, a very sleepless night on Monday night.
No surprise. All right. So do you want to work backward, or do you want to just you want to work forward? Your call. How do you want to play this?
If you do want to talk reffing down here, we should probably do it at the start of the segment before things go.
Well, then I'm going to have dark. It won't go completely dark, because I'm going to ask you, obviously, which one of you I'm talking to in a given particular Q&A as part of this.
Well, I am drinking out of an Atlanta United mug, so things are going to go dark very quickly.
Careful, cowboy. Good morning, by the way. All right. So for those that were not in the building yesterday, the Egyptian, it's like, well, and I will say this, Derek Ray and Rob Green had the call on FOX, and they ran it immediately, instant classic. It was on FS1 last night, like you wouldn't believe it. The second that the Switzerland-Colombia game was over, they went to break, they went to the top of the hour, and they rebroadcast Argentina and Egypt, as they should have.
One game was fun to watch.
Oh, boy. Then yesterday, Switzerland and Colombia. If you needed to catch up on any rest that you might have lost over Monday and early parts of Tuesday, that was the one to catch you up on it.
Yeah.
we have a highlight later, and it is the defining PK. The Egypt national team and Hossein Hassan obviously displeased on a bunch of different fronts. I'm not going to get into his quotes because we know where that's coming from. Yes, and so that I think that sigh is about good enough where we are. When it comes to the disallowed goal, what I was trying to the initial 2-0 lead that got wiped off the board and then went back to 1-0.
Yeah.
So 1B, I guess technically, if you want to call it that. So what I tried to explain to folks in that moment after the match, and they were wondering about it, I said, all you have to do is go back to 5 Stripes After Dark and the incident in San Jose with Joseph Martinez.
It felt like that.
And so bottom line here is this. It doesn't matter where the beginning of the action is, even if it results in an eventual goal, as it did in this case. But the act that started the transition moment for Egypt was a foul. And so it doesn't matter how much time has elapsed on the clock. It doesn't matter where the event happened. It just so happened it was deep in your own defensive third that started a break, that started transition, started a goal. So point of contact of discussion in VAR does not matter. If Section 232 was in play and you had a foul in Section 232, you go all the way back there and whatever. But that was what I was trying to impress upon folks.
Correct. Remember, we go back to the start of the attacking phase of play. And whether we like it or not, whether we view that as the start of the attacking phase of play or not, that foul is what caused a change of possession, and that possession is what led to a goal. I understand why people feel icky about it, to use the
that is the professional
terms.
Yes, absolutely.
It did feel, for a number of reasons. One, you are going back so far, right? You're going back, I think they said 60 some seconds, if not longer.
Sure.
It did feel like it wasn't it didn't lead to a direct attacking play, but that's not the terminology. Like I just said, attacking phase of play. It also did not feel like an egregious foul. And I think this is where people get confused. You don't have to murder someone for it to go to VAR review, right? If the attacking phase of play is caused by a foul, it is thus reviewed. And in this case, there was clearly and obviously a foul. It may be soft. It may be, I don't think it was a gentle shirt tug that ended up calling it.
No. When you're seeing much pulled away from the body.
Right. There are questions for sure about why this foul was deemed a clear and obvious error when there are other fouls in this tournament that may not have been called, but are not part of the VAR process necessarily. It also doesn't help that Argentina gets the benefit of a lot of...
I figured you were going to go Jordan rules on me here, but yeah.
I'm not... I'm just saying this is why people are upset, right? It doesn't help that they get the benefit from a lot of referee and league decisions. I mean, as I said to people who were mad about, Balogun's red card suspension being suspended.
Yes.
It's like, y'all, if you're an American soccer fan getting mad at this, I got news for you. Things are about to ramp up as we restart MLS, and Miami wants to sign 5 new guys. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you want rules to be applied at all the time to everyone,
well, yeah,
I love that fantasy you're living in.
Yeah, and I mean,
I understand why all of those things converge,
right? Yeah,
to be again, icky about the foul call.
Yeah, talking point in all italics, boldface, and underlined. And that is, I mean, you discuss it, but then even if you pulled away the Jordan rules talking point, you're looking at the application within a match by a center ref. So you have to take it literally case by case.
Yeah.
And yes, you can, assemble evidence and come up with an argument, but you have to look at how the Texier was calling the match. Was he calling it closely? Was he being uniform in his, in his behavior, using whistles and things like that? And so I think that's another thing that has to be part of this. Yes, we do have the history that is attached in big ticket moments, but you have to also look at the context of the moment with Letexier and how he was calling the match.
Yeah, and I do think that is one of the issues we get into with a VAR review, right? With the video review, is the assistant ref, because the video assistant ref, I should say.
Yeah.
It look, when I'm the AR, because I don't have VAR in my games, despite many parents coming to us and clearly showing us a camera angle that says that their son was onside, or the Veo camera that somehow shows that they're onside, even though they're a single shot camera that sits at midfield and shows the I don't even think it moves, John. I think it just stays there.
Follows the L22.
Yeah, follows. Yeah. I think it's fair to question if the assistant referee here kind of let their view of fouls and not fouls dictate the start of the review process. I think that's a fair question. However, John,
yes.
When we look at the laws of the game, and you go to law 12, fouls and misconduct, this does fall under a direct free kick foul. It just does, right? We especially have, I know in the Premier League they wanted to do this. This is kind of bled into other leagues about pulling jerseys inside the penalty area, but pulling jerseys as a whole is something they're trying to stop, because it has gotten to a point where lots of defenders are using that as a defensive tactic, and it shouldn't be. I'm not saying it gets called all the time. I do understand that there are times, I mean, there was an incident in the snooze fest after this that there was a shirt pull of tiny sorts, and a Colombian player looked like he had been shot from a sniper, even though they don't have guns in Canada. And I think that is what we're trying to figure out. Like, okay, like obviously there's going to be times when someone has a slight tug of a jersey because it happens. What is that line between a foul for pulling a jersey and kind of just soccer happening?
Yeah, and jostling.
So again, I'm understanding of why everyone's like, feels bad about this. I just think at the end of the day, a foul is what started the attacking phase of play that led to the goal, and therefore VAR is able to review it.
Yeah. And I always enjoy it when you have a shirt pull and the player who's having his shirt pulled falls down away from the direction of the shirt pull.
No, John, that was a push. It was a shirt push. A shirt push.
You're working backward with the shirt and momentum, and therefore it is a shirt push forward. That was.
Look, I hope this luck that Argentina has with VAR and referees follows Atlanta United for the next couple games that I will be in attendance for, because I forgot to cancel my away tickets to watch this team play on the road in cities that are close to us.
Okay, yeah, and so obviously we're going to be keeping an eye on all of that stuff going forward. But yeah, I wanted to go over what seemed to be a major talking point from yesterday about goal 1B, and that was why I wanted to start with that. All right, so
look, I think we also need to be careful, John, because you've watched this game for I don't know how many ice ages, but
704 ice ages, sir.
Yeah, but I think yes, Egypt should have been up 2-0. I think, like, if that's your view, sure.
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah.
That doesn't mean that they would have been up 3-0. It doesn't.
No. Because,
so I do want people to I caution y'all from going, oh, Egypt should have been up 3-0. No. I'm not saying they may not have scored a third goal. That's not. I'm just saying that you cannot say that because this goal was taken away and they happened to score another goal that they would have been up 3-0.
Yeah.
Because maybe the Argentina flip the switch happens earlier.
Well, that, and also what we saw in the second half from Egypt and Coach Hassan anyway was trying not to lose instead of trying to win. It was
I don't even blame them for that. To be
no, and like I said, when you do that specifically, that lends itself to logic being you're not going to have a whole lot of offensive breaks going the other way that you are going to instigate yourself. He is going to navigate that second 45 and try to get out of Dodge with a win, and it's not going to be offensive based, is what I was getting.
Which again, he did anyway and had that work.
Yeah, but you cannot hand the Super Soaker in the backyard brawl. You cannot continue to hand the Super Soaker to Argentina to have them try to win the battle in the middle of summer. You can't do it. It's like, I'm tired of shooting. Here's the Super Soaker. You can't do that.
Yeah. And so again, I want to caution people against that. Now, do we want to talk about the other controversial incident? Controversial, air quotes, in this match at the end with the Mo Salah supposed penalty?
Yeah, I think he was more falling down, but that's me.
No, but I mean, this is something we see a lot, right? Is an attacker falling into the defender after they lose possession and the defender has won the ball.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I think Egypt, John, I don't know. I've been watching this tournament the whole time, and the Egyptian coach is dramatic.
Yes, that was the word that I used with the boss. I said that he believes histrionics was the other one that I had attached to.
Yeah, he'd be great on a stage up in New York because he definitely
off Broadway
acts for the back row.
That's true,
and good for him. It worked for Egypt. I will say that because we haven't seen Egypt in a World Cup in a very long time, and Lord knows we haven't seen in a knockout round phase of the tournament in a long time. So it did work for them. It just, I think, now takes the conversation off of, oh man, we made a great run. Can't we believe we made it to the round of 32 after missing this tournament for, I mean, almost my whole life. I trying to think, when the last time I remember seeing them in a World Cup was, if ever. And
actually, they were in the 2018, but before that, it was 1990.
Oh, you're right. They were in 2018. Right.
But they got
still missed 2022, which in a neighboring country.
Right. They lost all three.
My point is they're not here. They're not here. They made it. We know Africa is an extremely hard continent to qualify out of because they have, I think, the hardest qualification process of anyone. And probably deserve some more spots. But I think that's my issue, is it takes the conversation away from A, the team, which played really well, and B, a great player in his own right in Mohamed Salah. So
yeah, and he is going to be, as the subtle plug, the article that I wrote on Hassan in the MD-1s. You have Salah, you have that generation that is graduating out. You have Omar Marmoush, and you have Zico, and you have players that are coming in. It's what you do for an encore. That is I think the biggest thing here for Egypt. In 2018 in Russia, they were listed, I think, as 31st out of 32. They lost all three, and it was a -4 in goal difference. 1990, they had,
which is why I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah. Group stage in 1990, they had 2 draws and a loss. And then before that, it was 1934. So literally, it was finishing 13th out of 16 in 34, 1990, 2018, where they were barely a blip, and then 26 now that you have an Egyptian national hero as your head coach. So that's where you're at. All right. As he's taking his other hydration. See, now you're dealing with it, but you're dealing with two separate levels of hydration here. I definitely appreciate that this morning. Where do you want to start when it comes to the USMNT? Do you want to go match, or do you want to walk it forward and just go match and then philosophical and then go that way?
We'll start with the match, because I think the match is way easier to digest.
Okay. All right,
Doug.
Yeah, there you go.
You picked the worst time to have your worst game against a team that picked the best time to have their best game.
Absolutely.
I think that is the summary of the game.
Yeah.
I don't even think there are a lot of tactical breakdowns of this match, because the tactics didn't really matter when you weren't completing passes. Part of that was Belgium's tactics finally working. Offensively, they had some good tactics to overload the right side to kind of, first off, not fully nullify, but keep Jedi Robinson and Christian Pulisic occupied in a defensive manner. That was kind of their goal. And then you saw a lot of big switches to Premier League title winning Leandro Trossard.
Yep.
And that created a lot of havoc on our defensive side of things. But really, this came down to, and I hate to sound like Alexi Lawless or Carly Lloyd, mentality.
Well, we're not going to allow that, but okay. But I want you to sound like Bart Keeler. I don't want you to sound like those two.
Well, no, but that's the problem, is that this was a mentality match, because you watch this team come out and they looked timid. They looked unsure, which is the opposite of what we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, this team has scored. They didn't score early against Bosnia, but they had scored early in all three of their group matches. They still came out against Bosnia with a front-footed approach. They were proactive. You did not see that in this match. And so when it comes to tactical breakdowns, I don't think the team tactically had anything wrong with what it was trying to do. It wasn't effective because you were mishitting passes. You were not going after loose balls. You were losing 50-50s. You were losing aerial duels. You were, all these things that don't even allow you to do the tactics.
Right.
And that is, I think, the most frustrating thing is we finally got a team that, even from a tactics standpoint, had an identity. We've seen American teams with identities, right? I think it's very fair to say that the 2002 team had an identity. Tactically, it was get the ball forward quickly and try really hard defensively. It wasn't a romantic, or complex tactical framework. It's a Bruce Arena team. He doesn't do that. But no, look.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. I'd take them.
Well, all right. So then let me.
But that's the problem, is you just you didn't bring the battle to the battle.
Okay, so then let me add to that and get your thoughts on it. It seemed out of the blocks, that the USMNT maybe was too wrapped up in the emotion of the moment, and with the crowd being what it was. You're in a building with a hot crowd, and I mean a white hot crowd, because you've been there. You know what Seattle can do for.
They're almost as good as Atlanta.
There you go. You've got a white hot crowd. You've got a match with all of these expectations, and I think it took them too long to get settled into the idea of a match. I want to say maybe the 22nd minute was probably when you could sense, okay, now you're getting into the rhythm of it. But by then you're already down a goal because of defensive lapses, breakdowns, whatever you want to call it. But I think that they were too wrapped up in the emotion of the moment and did not focus on the job they needed to do until they were settled in, and that was at the quarter pole.
Correct. Again, I think that is the concerning thing from this group for me, for this group of players, is I'm trying to not get philosophical yet. So
okay. So
I do think that this match was too much for them to handle, and the moment was too much for them to handle. It is heartbreaking to see, because that has seemed to be the theme for the past couple years with this team. Which, before that, if you remember the 3 Nations Leagues in a row that you win, right? It very much felt like they were up for the big match. You remember, you look back to 2022 World Cup and the England match, right? That was a game they were up for. The Netherlands match, I think we can all look at it and go, that was a naive team that got outplayed and outsmarted by one of the best footballing nations in the world. But you still came out and probably could have had a goal, I think, within the first 10 minutes if Christian Pulisic gets, not a stud on the ball and an actual cleat or an actual boot. That, to me, didn't happen here. And that's the concern, is that you've seen a trend over the past couple of years where they didn't rise to the occasion in a big match. And some of those have been without star players. Some of those have been with your star players. But we've seen the team fall short a lot in the past couple of years when they should have had all the momentum behind them. And that's really sad and frustrating too.
And, then you're down a goal, and I want to get through the match, obviously, so we can talk philosophy and all that other stuff going forward. You are just going left-hand, right-hand this morning. I give you full credit for that when it comes to your hydration. And, it's when you're down in a match and you feel like you have to work that much faster to try and get back into the match. I don't know if Matt Freese has answered any questions on any level to anyone when it comes to what happened, but I think that there are times where you may hear footsteps, you may hear something going on behind you. Like I said, I don't know the dynamics of what happened in the freeze moment. Because the only person that can answer that question is Matt. And when you have a moment like that, when you're trying to chase and your brain is working that much faster because you feel like time is running out, then your game is going to get stretched and you're going to have to work back and forth. The game was stretched that created the beginning of the moment in the first place. You have them go over the top, and defenders are having to backtrack. Freeze comes out of his 18, which I get completely, because you want to get there before the attacker does. Chests it down, tries to settle, and then whatever action's going on behind, there might have been a spidey sense or something, and then in the rush to try to get something going, it gets chunked, and it turns into goal number 3. So it's just navigating big moments, I know, is probably going to be a part of the discussion as well.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of conversation about the Matt Freese moment when I kind of expected it to happen. Not in this way by any stretch. But if you've been watching this team, which we have, you would know that goalkeeping has been an area of great concern since 2018, right? Since, really 2017, when Tim Howard was very clearly unable to reach a shot that he probably should have got to. Since the Howard and Guzan duo stepped aside from the national team, we have not had a real confidence in any of our starting goalkeepers. The most we had was Matt Turner back in 2022. And even then that was, he's pretty good. I feel okay. You didn't think of him as a weakness. You knew that he could maybe come win you some games. Matt Freese has been, I think the starter, because whatever is going on in Matt Turner's head is something that I can't work out, that he probably needs to go talk to a sports psychologist about. I'm not even joking when it comes to the national team.
And I think that specifically after what happened, specifically after what happened in the match in Seattle, I think you need to have someone to talk to in that moment. Do not.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone, full disclosure, I say this as someone who has spent 2 tours in therapy myself.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, part of it is just for Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
You need to work through that moment. It's a traumatic moment, right? So you need to work through the trauma of that moment. You need to make sure that you're not feeling that again in a game, be it club or country. But, you know, if you're that moment alone, despite what people are going to say, is not what want to lost you the game. Mm-hmm. That moment alone is not a reason why he shouldn't be starting going forward, right? Mm-hmm. I just think for me, it was like, yeah, we knew we were going to have a goalkeeping blunder of some sort this tournament. It happened to be that. And again, it happened to happen in the worst possible game, you know? Mm-hmm. That's the part that sucks about it. That's there's no other way to say it. That part sucks. You had the bad moment in the big game. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the rest of your teammates did, by the way. Mm-hmm. I mean, that first goal was a bad moment by like 5 dudes.
Yep.
You may be included in that, but you know, that's the hard part for the goalkeeper. Speaking as a goalkeeper, is you're going to blame yourself for a lot of that. You're going to blame yourself for the first goal. Probably somehow blame yourself for the second goal. The third goal, you can't not blame yourself. And the fourth goal, you'll find a way to blame yourself on.
Well,
that too, because that's just how we look. You know, that's how goalkeepers are.
Yeah.
You have to work through that from both ends, because Wile E. Coyote is correct. Like, you got to learn something. Well, yeah. Obviously, your learning should be get the damn ball out of kick it. Sorry. Yes. In that moment, we're not trying to let's be cute and start a pat. No, kick it really far the opposite way. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't need it, but you need to work through it from an emotional processing standpoint, so that your brain is not screwed up and that you screw it up again later, or you screw it up because you think you're going to screw it up because you screwed it up.
Yeah.
And that's the sports psychology of it all, is like, you don't want to be stuck in a position where you're having flashbacks every single time you come out of the goal.
Yeah.
And not saying he would or wouldn't, because obviously I'm sure Matt Freese has made a mistake with his feet before in his life. He's a goalkeeper who's been playing for a long time. It happens.
He plays in the Bronx, where you're going and you're going outside the 14 to try to make.
Well, yeah, I was about to say outside is taking 2 steps, John. But you know, it again, you just don't want that coming up in your brain every single time. And so, yes, for Matt Freese, again, it was a bad moment and the worst time to have a bad moment. Mm-hmm. But I'm just sorry that I kind of expected a goalkeeping blunder of sorts in a match during the World Cup. And it just happened to come at the worst possible time.
Yeah. So from this, I think that once again, we are reinforced with the idea that the U.S. internationally is ranked about right. You know, 10, 11, 12, right in there. So if you extrapolate that, then yes, you made it into the round of 16, and that was kind of where you were supposed to be. And then if you end up with wins going forward, then it's house money that you're playing with.
Yeah, I feel like that's the hard thing to swallow here, is a round of 16 exit is what we do. Mm-hmm. Look to our neighbors to the south, despite them winning that one game and they thinking they broke a curse, they still lost in the round of 16, right? Quinto Partido, it just meant not getting to the quarterfinal. Well, it's the same thing, you know? I mean, really, that's what it is. Both nations are going to have to deal with that, because I think both nations are in a similar thought of going, now, Mexico's a little different, but hey, I'm in the round of 16. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do I progress from that. Remember, the only time we've progressed from the round of 16 in a tournament that actually had like a knockout style like that was because we beat Mexico.
Mhm.
You know, you thought you had a chance to do that. Playing at home with a team that was playing really well in probably your most home field stadium you could find in this country.
Short of Atlanta.
And you fell flat.
Yeah.
You fell flat.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's hard, because if you told me we lost in the round of 16 to Belgium, I'd go, it sucks.
Mm-hmm. Number 9 team in the world. Yep.
Would not have wanted it to be this way.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the way we lose is what sucks the worst, because I think there was actual momentum behind this team. There were people watching this team who do not watch soccer all that often because they were caught up in the moment of the World Cup being here. And they were caught up in the excitement of rooting for their national team and the cool Waldo jerseys. And, oh my gosh, we got guys scoring all these goals. Oh my gosh, you know, that's it. We were having a good time. People were getting involved. We had, whether we like it or not, media folks talking about this that hadn't talked about soccer ever. And we were at a threshold. And this, now we're veering into philosophical. We were at a threshold where we almost broke containment, John.
Yep.
And I think the fact that they chose this match to play their worst is the part that sucks, because it's hard to feel good about anything that happened in this match, which then makes everyone question, well, was this tournament even successful? And the answer is no, the tournament was not successful. And I'll tell you, like, I hate to say it, but around a 16 exit that has, again, the thing that you do every single time, you go, all right, you know, were there things that you did that made progress in this tournament? You won 3 matches. You've never done that before. That's great.
Yeah.
But, you know, then you start rationalizing, oh, we beat Bosnia. It's not exactly a big win.
Well, but then you could get into the whole thing about, well, Cabo Verde drew Spain. You know,
exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, what was your big win? Australia 2-0. Well, Uruguay 4-1. Bosnia 2-0. Like, I mean, and that's just where you. That's the problem. Is now you're going down the spiral of, man, will anything matter here? And I'm gonna be just blunt, John. That was me Monday night, because I have put my heart and soul into this game on and off the field for 32 years.
Okay.
And this is the hard part of going, like all that I work for to try to get people to love the sport, all that I work for to make the sport better in this country, which I'll take issue with those people in a little bit. Like, I'm not saying it was all for nothing, but it just was like expletive.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like we had a chance.
You did.
And these guys didn't do anything with it.
Well, but I mean, now, but once again, to your point, the same.
I have a question, John. I'm sorry, because Michael Head is bringing this up in the chat, and I have to ask you: MLS not taking advantage of the momentum? How not? Because I've seen this narrative. Is it because they didn't have commercials on Fox that cost $1 bajillion?
Well, yeah, considering that you know, you're no longer a television partner. Yeah. So, but
I'm genuinely curious, because we haven't played soccer yet after this tournament.
Right.
There has not been a single MLS game after this tournament. So that is the question that I have for people who are, I mean, look, doom and gloom is fine. Feel that way right now. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I woke up yesterday not great. I'm not even going to try to kid y'all. Still not fantastic last night as I'm processing all of my emotions, but to somehow say MLS isn't taking advantage of it.
Well,
in what ways are they not? Because I saw billboards about Atlanta United all throughout the city.
Yeah.
I saw Atlanta United at multiple activations around the city trying to get people involved.
Yeah.
The problem is FIFA don't give one. One rip about MLS. They truly don't. I mean this sincerely. They don't. Having gone to World Cups, I can tell you they do not give a rat's behind about the local league. They don't. No. They strip everything away from it. I'm in Wellington, home to an A League and a W League team. No, nothing. Nothing. I'm in Sydney, a fantastic football stadium. Nothing about the local teams that play there. So I know we love to hate MLS because that's the league we have. Y'all, I don't think you understand what is and isn't allowed.
Yeah, basically
a lot of these.
Well, I mean, and I think if anybody wandered into Atlanta Stadium and saw any match, you'll know that all of anything involving a sponsor that is not attached to the tournament has to be covered up. Yeah, basically that. And you have, I mean, the helicopter shots, and this is something that for those that are not going to be going to the semifinal next year, if you watch the match on television and you see what's going on at Atlanta Stadium, you will notice that the helicopter shots, or whatever shot they're using it from, drone, helicopter, what have you, that device with a camera is slightly below being even with the spindle at the top of Atlanta Stadium. You get to see all the bunting, you get to see all of the city, you get to see all this stuff, but there's one part that you don't get to see. You don't get that chopper shot from way up high where you see Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because that's what it'll be at that point. You don't see Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the low corner and the shot of everything going on in downtown. It literally is even with the top of the building, so they don't show what is stamped on top of the on top of the Venus flytrap up top. That's, I mean, literally, you go into the building, everything that is non-sponsored is covered over by We Are Atlanta 26. The clubs that folks go into inside Atlanta Stadium that we know
fully rebranded
from the Triangle Airline that is based down at Hartsfield to
Lounge C, Lounge D, VIP Lounge. Yeah. So, okay, they're saying that they should have started the new season format now.
That's
okay. That's a fair thing to believe. We have no evidence that would have any impact on people attending matches or not. We just don't.
Yeah. But what you're doing now is you are taking advantage of it in that tail end of the window leading into the semifinal with your scheduling. What you can do is start your schedule, as you will know, by traveling 4 hours north next Thursday and Friday. Is that
northwest?
Yeah, north and west. Northwest. So you're going to be traveling northwest 4 hours, the tail end of next weekend or next week, to go see the match, because that's the window that Major League Soccer has chosen, and that right ahead of the semifinal and final, the third place match. They've chosen that Thursday and Friday to get rolling with their second half of the season. So as one tournament, the international tournament that is determining your intergalactic champion, as that was fading, then Major League Soccer is fading in and reminding folks, all right, let's keep this momentum going by having the rest of our season going here. So that's what they're able to do as an entity, and so they're fading in as one is fading out.
And we don't know, right? Okay, this is the thing that, again, this is the problem we're going to have, is what does this mean for soccer in this country? Because we're still not a soccer country, and the reality is we're never going to be. I need people to stop pretending that. What we need to be,
we're also 70 years behind Europe,
right?
And having to,
but we also have. If you say, oh, well, like, this is the online narrative from Europeans, and especially someone from Belgium saying, you guys don't even care about soccer, and I'm going, we have more people playing soccer on any given day in this country than y'all have in your whole damn country. So miss me with that. Yeah. But we don't know what MLS has and hasn't done. I think it's fair to say, well, we haven't seen any advertising. I would ask you, well, why do you think that is? Do you think that ad spots during this World Cup are cheap. They're not. There's a reason we see the same 5 commercials every single time they go to any sort of break. It's because those are the tournament partners. And they work. I'm telling you, FIFA works really hard to make sure no other brand profits off of their brand.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is allowed to profit off of FIFA other than FIFA. Like, I understand. You're allowed to be upset. And again, this is, everyone loves to hate MLS. That's the coolest thing in this country, is to hate MLS. Somehow USL is not involved in this conversation, despite them also not having a calendar change. You can talk about Pro Rel all you want. Well, that's not happening next year. Good Lord knows when that's going to happen at all, because they keep telling us it's going to happen. There's no actual plans for it to happen. But continue to tell me how USL is changing the world of soccer by having a 3-tier Pro Rel system in this country. Okay. I haven't seen any commercials for them. I haven't seen anything about them. So again, what the hell do you want them to do?
What you can ask of them is
now, when we get back to playing, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because every market that hosted a World Cup match in the United States has an MLS team attached to it. A couple of them have 2. One of them's moving into a new stadium in 2 years' time.
We haven't even had the chance to get into that this morning. That's how long this philosophical discussion has gone here.
Like, it is valid to be in a dark place right now. I'm telling you, it's fine, because I'm there. I am so mad at this team and this federation. But I keep seeing the same damn talking points. Well, if we just had Pro Rel, we'd be winning. Egypt has Pro Rel. Bosnia has Pro Rel. We beat them. Turkey has Pro Rel. Where are they? Paraguay does. Like, shut up. Sorry, I just don't have time for this conversation. Oh, if we just eliminated pay to play. Okay, then where the hell are the kids going to play? Because someone has to pay for them to play. You know why? Because this country monetizes every damn thing. They monetize being outside. So where are these kids going to play? Oh, they should play pickup. Okay, who's organizing the pickup for the 5-year-olds? There are a lot of issues we have with soccer in this country. I'm sorry. There are. I'm not saying pay to play or Pro Rel isn't an issue, right? The fact that you think there's some silver bullet to us all of a sudden winning the next damn World Cup is moronic. I'm sorry, it just is. It's living in a fantasy land that you have created in your mind that has no factual basis. But yet we're going to set out, you come out here and say, well, we just had pay to play. We need to just have academies like they do in Europe. We freaking do. This damn show talks about academies all the damn time. We have one here in Atlanta. You know what? But that's the problem. We have them. You guys are choosing to be. I'm not saying anyone in this chat. This is for people out there who love to talk about this shit.
The collective y'all.
Y'all don't talk about this because you don't want to. You don't want to talk about the fact that Philadelphia and Dallas put forth a lot of guys that are on this national team, right? We have Atlanta United putting out academy players. We have, it is fair to say that our academies should be doing better. If you have that say, that's okay. Most of them are less than 10 years old. Atlanta's is 11 finally, right? Like just now, because we started before the club started, right? What about, LA should have, I agree. LA Galaxy should have been having a much better academy earlier on in their product. You know what they were more concerned with? Keeping the damn team and club playing. Because soccer in this country was not even, no sport's profitable, but it was hanging on by a thread for 20 years, whether you like to admit it or not. I do not have the patience for people who want to pretend like these are silver bullets that just magically make us win a World Cup in 2 cycles. You're idiots. I'm sorry. You just are. Because the reality is you're going to sit behind a keyboard and tell me, well, if we just had Pro Rel or if we just had free academies and do abso-freaking-lutely nothing to make the game better in your local area. I don't have time for that. Some of us are out here trying to make the sport better every day. And I don't mean talking on a podcast. I mean, some of us are out here actually trying to make the sport better every single day. Try to get people more interested in soccer every single day. Some of us are tweeting. Which camp are you going to be in?
I feel like we're going to officially put a bookmark here. Now that I've got you to the top of the bell curve. I guess when you come back on Monday, we continue to work the bell curve and figure out the rest of this climb. Is that how this works?
We'll have some games to talk about, and I'm sure there will be some just very fair refereeing. Okay, last point.
Sure.
Our friend Yvonne Bartone did not create a scene yesterday.
No, he did not.
Is that because neither team he was refereeing wanted to create a scene? Maybe.
I think that's
but we got to give him credit. He was not he did not cause any problems yesterday. So good job, Yvonne.
That is true. So are you recording Soccer for USPod at the remainder of this week?
Tonight we are recording.
Good deal.
We will be around. We finally get all together, and I'm sure we will have other conversations like we just had. So.
Yes. Thank you for being philosophical this morning. I know that there are times when we talk X's and O's, and there are times we talk reffing down here, and there are times where we kind of go 3 dimensions. And I like it when we can go 3-dimensional conversations and talk about the larger points of everything that's going on. Have a successful recording. Make sure the recording button is smashed when you are getting Soccer for US POD 149 up and running. And
there'll be a lot. I'm sure there'll be a lot of emotions in this episode. We didn't even talk about Christian Pulisic today.
No, we have not. So that'll be a part of 149. As always, my friend, great to see you. Thanks for taking up most of all of our number one, because it needed to be talked about, and we'll catch up with you down the line. Thanks again, my friend.
All right, y'all have a great day.
There he goes, Bart Keeler, who is hydrated. Dylan, Bart was hydrated. He was using 2 hands of hydration this morning. That's how fired up he was about
it. It sounded it, and I assume part of this hour with Bart was, which should also be sponsored.
Yes,
absolutely. This hour with Bart sponsored by X. But yes. I'm sure part of it was talking about the big Can Champ games tonight.
Yes, absolutely, it was.
Right?
Yes, that is absolutely.
I mean, that's what everyone is talking about these days.
Yes,
the big games in Canada.
Yes, and I believe that our friends at One Soccer might be broadcasting those. It's our friends from Supra. Oh, Supra.
You're truly on the desk tonight for the late night double dip.
Oh, so you're on the desk for the Vancouver double dip?
Yeah, trying not to get confused.
Yeah, because one plays at Willoughby and one plays at Swangard.
Yeah, Vancouver FC is playing Montreal.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that is true. Yes, Vancouver FC from the Canadian Premier League is playing at CF Montreal at Willoughby Community Park in the quarterfinals. That is not BC Place.
Correct.
And the Whitecaps are not in BC Place either. And they're at Swangard, where Whitecaps 2 traditionally play. And they're taking on Cavalry FC in another CPL MLS crossover at 10:30 at Swangard in the quarters of the Can Champ. So, wow, it's a full day of Can Champ on with our friends at One Soccer. Saint Laurent and Forge in an after school special, I guess.
Is it the Camp Day special?
I guess so. You're at Stade Bordeaux.
Oh no! John got so excited about this.
Saint Laurent and Forge, and then after that one, that's at 3:00, an after-school special. Saint Laurent and Forge, and then after that one at 7:00, it's our friends from FC Supra hosting Atletico Ottawa and former Atlanta United product Johnny Vial at Stade Saputo. So. Okay, so wow. Okay, all right. So you mentioned Vancouver and Vancouver FC.
See, there is no break in the soccer.
No, there's not. So Vancouver FC is playing in their, and well, they're not playing in their home park. They're playing at Willoughby Community. So they're playing in
literally playing in a park.
Yeah. Vancouver Whitecaps not playing at BC Place. They're playing at Swangard, where Whitecaps 2 play. FC Supra is playing at Stade Saputo, where CF Montreal traditionally plays, but CF Montreal is going out to Vancouver to play at Willoughby at the 10:00 kick on One Soccer, and then you have Saint Laurent in Laval, Quebec. But Supra, for those that do not know, when we have an interview up in the archive, Supra is choosing to go about their process using only Quebecois footballers.
Oh, like a little Chivas Guadalajara situation.
Mm-hmm. That is what they believe in. That is their philosophy. FC Supra is strictly Quebecois. They don't export. They would make the CFL proud. They would be under the export limit.
Yeah.
They have 0 exports. It is all Quebecois footballers. And so it is a full day, 3 and 7. And hopefully Dylan gets a nap in between now and 10 and 10:30 where he gets the Vancouver daily double. Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. But yeah, the irony of folks playing in buildings because folks aren't in buildings and folks not being in buildings means they have to go play in other places that are attached to their franchises. Welcome to Cup Play and welcome to the Can Champ. We can talk MLS and we can talk MLS because there have been some moves that have been made, Gabriel Peck being one of them. We can talk U.S. men's national team because we haven't had the chance to catch up with you about U.S. men's national team since they were eliminated earlier this week. Where, sir, would you like to start?
Yeah, we could start there, I guess, right? It's, I guess, generally speaking, my opening comment would be it's a missed opportunity. You know, it's look, you and I we're entrenched in this, right? Bart, Jason, we're all entrenched in this, right? But when you have a World Cup and you especially have it on home soil, like you see the outer layers of interest pop up, right? And it's something that we've always wanted in the sport. And I just feel, like they captured the attention, certainly with the group stage matches, with the round of 32 win. But it's sad and frustrating. And again, a missed opportunity because in the biggest game, you play your worst game. So, would they have beaten Spain? Probably not. But you know what? You're in the game then. It's another layer. It's added hype and interest from the country, which I think generally speaking is good for the sport. And, again, to play the way that they played, and I was one of those. I was out at an establishment. It was packed, a lot of USMNT jerseys. Great to see. And then it's just, the dud that we watched was just really disappointing.
Yep. And what we've been trying to do this morning, at least starting with Bart and after the match and working forward, considering that Tuesday we didn't have the chance really to do it because we had to go downtown to see Messi and friends.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes. There are things here that can be built from or referenced from because of what we saw. You saw a team under Mauricio Pochettino that instead of trying to counter and score, you saw a team that was aggressive. You saw a team that was aggressive in counter pressing, which is something that we really haven't seen a whole lot of when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. You saw a philosophy implemented by Mauricio Pochettino that was fitting to this group, and having this kind of a sea change created these opportunities. Yes, you're frustrated the fact that you put up a clunker at the worst possible time, and Mauricio Pochettino admitted that in his post-match press conference. But you saw a philosophical change in address on the field, and now the key is to maintain that with personnel, also maintaining that with the next coach, whomever that is, if it is Pochettino round 2 or if it is Pochettino adjacent, so you keep that aggressive philosophy with you going forward.
No, I would agree with you. I think it is a good base to have. I mean, for how many years, right? For decades, what has been said about the American player, right? Or the US team, they're athletic, they're tough, they fight, but maybe they lack some tactical abilities, right? And now obviously it's different, so I would agree with you. I think you want to keep, even if you don't keep the same coach, and we've kind of seen how a second cycle doesn't do well in the US. So yeah, I mean, you would hope that would be the same. You think of already, you start to think of looking ahead at 2030 and personnel wise and you think of some of the guys who were maybe on the the cutting room floor who almost made it, like a Xavier Gozo from Salt Lake, Diego Luna, Kevin Sullivan will be 20 at the time. Right. I know. Crazy. But even the core of this group is still, they'll be, I want to say, in their early 30s. So, and what I like too about the next cycle is that we're back to then having to play important games, and I think that's something that this team unfortunately lacked. Right, like you weren't playing life or death games leading up to this. You knew you were in. They were all friendlies. You need to have to go to Azteca and deal with, the ramifications of that. You need to go to Honduras and, have fireworks, be lit in front of your hotel until 3 a.m. Like, you need to be CONCACAF, right? You need, and then when you play your friendlies, they need to be against the toughest competition. Like, that's the thing. It was funny. I saw someone, I wish I remembered who to give him credit to, but they had mentioned, now's the time to maybe go into, like, kind of pull in Australia and go in to the Americas, go into CONMEBOL, like, I don't know how that would even happen, but if you think about it, even if you think about it for Mexico as well, right? Like, now you're playing, like, those are hard games, right? The CONMEBOL qualification, you're going, to Chile, you're going to Peru, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, right? Like,
Thunderdome.
But those games do harden you, you know?
They do. So, and the fact that Mauricio Pochettino was not afraid to schedule those kind of matches is also key to this. To answer your question, just to give it a quick rundown, Matt Turner would be 36 if you take it 4 years from now, just literally 4 years from now. Matt Turner, 36, Matt Freese, 31, Chris Brady, 26, Dest, 29, Chris Richards, 30, Jedi Robinson, 32, Austin Trusty, 31, Miles Robinson, 33, Tim Ring would be 42. You anticipate he would not be around. Alex Freeman would be 25, Max Arfston, 29, Mark McKenzie would be 31, Joe Scally, 27, Tyler Adams would be 31, Gio Reyna, 27, Weston McKinney, 31, Berhalter, 29, Kristen Roldan, not anticipated. Malik Tillman would be 28, Ricardo Pepe, 27, Pulisic would be 31, Aronson would be 29, Haji Wright would be 32, Falarin Balogun, 29, Timothy Weah would be 30, and Alex Zendejas would be 32. Others of note, Patrick Schulte and Roman Celentano would be 29, CCV would be 32, Nathan Harriel, 29, Tristan Blackman, 33, Noah Kai Banks would be 23, Tanner Tessman, Aiden Morris, Johnny Cardoso, each would be 28. Diego Luna, 26. Timothy Tillman, 31. Luca De La Torre would be 32. Jack McGlynn would be 27. Big Pat, Patrick Adjumong would be 29. Josh Sargent would be 30. Damian Downs would be 26. And that's just the short list.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you work from that group, and now you see what young guys push into it, and I mean, like, it's impossible to guess form 4 years down the road. I mean, we can't even do it in a few months. We can't even do it in a few months. Everyone had Diego Luna in the on the team, right? So, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily. It's not going to be a complete overhaul. Like, these are guys who will still, kind of be in their prime. So that would, I mean, that, we'll see. I'm excited about the next group. I just wish we got to the quarters. Like, just get to the quarters. It's as far as this group has gone in the modern era. And then you roll the dice against the Spain, and then you're like, all right, you know what? We left it better than we came in with, and they didn't.
I still think, though, even if in a wins and losses perspective, the answer is no. But I think philosophically and through daily implementation with what we've seen from Mauricio Pochettino, I think it has been left better when it comes to approach, philosophical and philosophy, and all the off the field stuff leading up to match day. It is different, and that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and think about it too, right? Belgium changed their lineup based on the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when in a major international competition have we said that, right?
Yeah.
Like, usually it's just like, yeah, well, we're really good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let them worry about us.
Yeah.
And instead, Belgium was like, hang on, we got to do this and change this to lock up the midfield. So
yeah,
even there, I think, you're getting that attention from outside your own camp. So
yeah, no De Bruyne and no Doku in the starting lineup for Belgium, and knowing that Kevin De Bruyne is not the stereotypic spring chicken, you knew that if the United States was going to do what they would do through the midfield, that if you started De Bruyne, he would be exposed.
Right.
And then you bring in De Bruyne and Doku and Lukaku, because you can't start Romelu Lukaku because he's not going to give you a full 90. So you can't have your power forward up top. You can, however, start to Keeler, who needed a bounce back game in the worst way after being pulled at halftime in the previous match. And he had an awful time against Senegal. He was pulled after 45. Lukaku comes in, he makes a difference. But having those changes of pace, if you're Rudy Garcia, De Keeler can be there and be a faster alternative than Lukaku, who can be your post-up player. And having the midfield with players like Luca Bacchio, who in the friendly here in Atlanta a couple of months ago proved his worth coming off the bench. You start Luca Bacchio, and then you bring in Doku, and then you bring in De Bruyne to help calm things down, hopefully with a lead, and that's what played into Rudy Garcia's hands.
No, 100%. And my concern, like, we didn't speak again leading into this one, but my concern was, you look at Belgium in the group stage and they were terrible, right? Like, and you were like, well, and these are guys who have had a few cycles. So you're like, they're past their prime, these guys, like, and then the Senegal match, brutal as well, right? 2-0 down. I remember it vividly. They're going to the second half hydration break, and two of their guys had to be held. They were about to come to blows coming off the field. They were arguing. I think Lukaku got between them. And I was like, this team is done. And then, like, I go about, I'm doing some stuff. I think I was getting ready to go out and meet some buddies and go to watch the US match. And then all of a sudden, like, they come alive. And my worry was that was what lit the fuse for them. That comeback. And now they're like, all of the bad soccer we've played is now behind us. Let's go forward. And, obviously they played their best game, against the US, unfortunately.
But I think also in that is the fact that we are having these kinds of discussions about, man, I wish, all the promise that we're latched onto that, as opposed to, oh, well, instead there's an energy that's attached to a lot of the discussion about the men's national team going forward because of what happened to get to that point, even though you end in a clunker, that instead of, we got out of group, it's like, we did whatever. Instead of having just toss-offs and hands going in the air, there's a genuine enthusiasm. And it's coming through in your discussion with me about, man, I wish we would have, instead of it just being, it's, man, I wish we would have, to have that kind of energy attached to this. That's also a part of the momentum, I think, that has been created here with this group and with Mauricio Pochettino.
I will share this with you. And it just, maybe about an hour ago, this went live on MLSsoccer.com. There's a story on Xavier Gozo. There was an interview with him on Tuesday. And he said, and I'll read the direct quote, "I think the ceiling is the World Cup final. It's a ceiling. It's up to us to reach that. But the players that we have and the talent that we have coming through are some of the best in the world for sure. If all the players develop the right way, and obviously we all play well together and all of these things, I think the final is not too far out of reach for us. I think it's a very bright future for the U.S. Now, that could be obviously debated and talked about and social media to death, but to have a young player say that, right? Like, I like to hear that. Is it, you want them to say that's the goal. You don't want them to say, yeah, let's get out of the group stage. That would be amazing. No, man, he's going for it all. And he's not being brash about it. He's not saying we're going to win the World Cup in 4 years, but he's saying that's the goal. And he's saying it in an I believe, tangible way. So, I like to hear that from someone who we expect to be, part of that next cycle.
And as I have posted here, the required reading for the day is the article that was written by Justin Ruderman at MLSsoccer.com, of which our friend Dylan Butler is a major domo. And so we have decided to let Justin's article be required reading. It is the Xavier Gozo piece that is.
I also wrote the recap for that wild game yesterday, which how amazing was that?
Being in the building and full, once again, full disclosure, Maddie, Jason, and I all sit together. And Jason is between Madison Cruz and myself. And for someone who is as much an Albi Celestephile as Jason is, having grown up, Maradona was his first, gravitational player. He is everything.
Same to me, by the way. We share that.
And so it is, that's how he started, was with Maradona. And if you look in his studio space, you'll see a lot of old school Argentina stuff. To see him living and dying in that match yesterday, my stomach was in knots. So if my stomach is in knots and Maddie and I are worried about Jason, and we're not the Argentina fan that he is, to have it was, I don't know if it was, empathy, it was empathy. I don't know if it's sympathy pains or what, but my stomach was in absolute knots for Jason yesterday. And then you end up with, yes, Abby, Jason was actually sitting because you have to. We have to anyway. There were some members of the Egyptian press, and they might have actually been members of the Egyptian communications staff that were at an intersection of sections 3 and 4, and they were standing a lot, but they were also in the aisle and they were at a corner. So I think it was the comms.
Yeah, but if you were in a broadcast booth, you could be standing. That's what I do when I.
True. Yeah, absolutely. And so it gets to 2-1, and we'll play the highlights in the final half hour. It gets to 2-1 with Huti Romero, and you're going, okay, I think this was the first time I've seen him up at striker before. And Romero gets the header in, and it's 2-1, and it's like 15 to go. And I'm like, okay, brothers and sisters, hang on here for a second. And then, as we were discussing, it seemed like Coach Hassan and Egypt in the second half, when they got the 2-0 lead, they were just trying to get out of Dodge. It's like, no, we don't want it. You can have it. And that's not what you do. You basically have Argentina try and do all the work and be on offense in that final 15-plus minutes. And you get the chaos inside the 18. And what I try to remind folks is that Messi did not strike that ball purely. He struck it basically just below the knee. And in that follow-through, he hits it just below the knee, and it still has enough force behind it to act like it was a shot. And Derek Ray and I want to say it was Rob Green were there, and Rob thought it was a pure strike. It was just below the knee, and it was so on target with his alignment that it looked like a shot that was that straight with the foot. And then that caroms in and through, and the keeper, Shabir, he had a day. And he couldn't quite grab that one. And you're thinking 2-2, and you're going, okay, we got trouble here. I mean, Egypt is railing and they're up against the ropes, and Argentina is hitting. Literally, it's
let me hit the pause button there for a second.
pause.
How does this? We've all, at least as you're probably noticing, international soccer, these lines are blurred a bit, but
Yes.
we've grown up in the era of no cheering in the press box.
Yes, that's true.
So how did Jason handle that moment? Did he grab his chair? Did he like pump his fist?
No, he's basically like this. He is in front. He is leaning on the press table, and he is literally from like 75 to 90.
Yeah.
He is up front and he is leaning on the press table. He did not move. It's like, so action happens. He pulls back a little bit.
What messy goal though.
He was locked in. He was
nice.
He was right here.
Good job, Jason.
He was right here for the messy goal and the equalizer. And look, he's in game mode. He is completely and totally locked in on everything. And then it goes from 2-2 to 3-2. I mean, and each time a goal is scored by Argentina, the three of us are sitting there and we're reacting as you normally would. It's like, oh-ish. And then you just hear the Argentina fans, and it is this energy and this wave, and it almost is suffocating in a good way as to how they respond in moments like this, where it is energy and then they just get loud and then they get louder. I'd love for somebody to have a dB meter to let me know what it was like, because you're in the 90s, and then it's the second goal. Messi scores. The building had a roof, and I'm surprised the roof stayed on it. Then it's 2-2, but Jason, the entire time, he is like this. He is locked in. He is looking at what's going on in front, because he's trying to analyze for the story write up. He's looking, and he's writing the post game piece. So he's here like this entire time.
Yeah.
And at 3-2, basically the three of us almost just go back like this all at once. And it's just like, it literally is the Jack Buck. I don't believe what I just saw.
I was so as I've told you, I watched most of the tournament on Telemundo, and the Cantor call was legendary. I and it's funny because at that point you don't know if it's gonna. You're kind of thinking almost, oh man, there's gonna be 30 more minutes. Hang on there, buddy. Like you're gonna sound like Harry Kane in a minute.
And also what folks may not remember is that Andres Cantor called the U.S. and Belgium match in Seattle.
Yeah.
Flies overnight to Atlanta to call the noontime kick Tuesday for Argentina for Argentina and Egypt.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why his voice was roasted, and I'm hoping that he speaks nothing until the weekend, when I imagine he has Argentina and England.
Legend. And so I obviously, watching that, I'm writing that up. My recap had to get changed pretty quickly.
Yes. Edit, paragraph, delete.
Yeah. Let's take out the headline where they were eliminated. So now it's Colombia, and I think I've told you, I've born and raised in Queens, for a good 20 plus years of my life, lived in Jackson Heights. So it is another city, essentially, Colombia's extra city, there's Cali, there's Bogota, there's Jackson Heights. So I was, and once you see Argentina get through, you're like, oh my goodness, can we please have the Saturday night special of Colombia versus Argentina in the quarterfinals? Cantor on the call, that would be outstanding. And then, unfortunately, no, that didn't happen.
Now, my guess is that his path is going to be, Kansas City on Saturday night. Then if Argentina advances, he goes to get the winner. He comes back here for Argentina, Switzerland, Norway, England. The winners of those two. That semifinal is back here on Wednesday, I think, and Tuesday or Wednesday, and then he goes to the Meto lands to finish. So just like, look, radio silence, no interviews, no nothing. Just silencio por favor until the night game in Kansas City at Arrowhead with Argentina and Switzerland. So it is a masterclass, and so it has been fun to watch all of this. Before I let you go, I know we're in added time, and I know that you're going to rest up before the Can Champ coverage tonight.
12 hours away.
LA Galaxy have transferred Gabriel Peck to Cruzeiro for up to $13.5 million, opening a DP spot. Nelson Palacio goes from RSL to Toronto FC for 7 figures. Diego Rossi goes from Crew to Monterrey. Crew brings in Brais Mendez from Real Sociedad. So DP out, DP in. We've had some other minor deals, but from what we have seen, say in the
Griezmann was introduced, right?
Yeah.
Today, I think.
So you've got all of this stuff going on as we get ready for next Thursday and Friday when the league kicks back in. What have you thought about movement that we've seen over the last 7 days?
Yeah, I think it's going to probably start to pick up some intensity, right? Coming soon. I don't know if I'm all that surprised. Columbus is in a kind of a reboot here, so it makes sense to move out Rossi. By the way, sub note, felt so bad for Cucho.
Yes.
Comes on and you know, he was great in the first match as a sub and made that incredible assist for a goal against Uzbekistan, and then you know, misses the PK, which is super unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, Peck, but look, you know, same kind of a situation, I guess, there as well. You know, you get a good amount of change there. So I think, you know, watching what LAG does with this window opening up is going to be interesting.
Technically, the secondary transfer window opens up Monday and goes until September the 2nd. And this is the first time that it has gone into September. And FIFA approved a request to have the 3 Canadian clubs adhering to those registration periods as opposed to the Canada Soccer registration period, which are flipped. So registration period must be a minimum of 8, not exceeding 12. Cumulative total of both registration periods may not extend past 16. So you're getting all of these movements that become officially official starting on Monday when the secondary window opens up. So that is keeping an eye on all of that stuff. All right. In addition to Can Champ, what is going on with MLSsoccer.com and everything else, Dylan Butler?
Yeah, well, I'll be on for I will be on for Saturday night's Argentina match. So,
oh boy,
again, you know, I was hoping beyond hope we'd have Argentina, Colombia.
Yep.
Especially that I currently don't live in Jackson Heights, because that would have been just insanity. I was funny. I was looking up like on Uber Eats. I'm like, is there any Colombian restaurants near me? And I was like, that'd be great. I'll have a little like a nice Colombian meal before that match. But I can still find something. I could find maybe an Argentine place somewhere around here. But yeah, so I'll be on the desk for that one. And yeah, then the league kind of really kicks into gear, right? I'll have some more Can Champ on the weekend too. On Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of Can Champ.
Well, because they're like running around trying to make sure that they get all of their notes in at least before you get to the semifinals, and so you'll know what's going on, and you're not completely and totally just diving into the MLS schedule before. Yes. As always, my friend, when you come back next week, we will have the beginning of the secondary transfer window. We will have matches to talk about because it's the second half of the season. And Thursday, Friday et al. And we'll also be discussing third and championship matchups in this World Cup thing. So, as always, it is great to see you. Get your nap in. Make sure that you're properly hydrated, and make sure that you have all your carbs, that you're ready to go. And may none of the matches go into added time. their 10 and 10:30 kicks.
Don't put that into existence, please.
Yes, that's why I'm saying. Dominus omnis, no extra time. As always, my friend, great to see you. We'll catch up with you again next week when the rubber hits the road in Major League Soccer. It's always great to see you.
Yeah, buddy.
There he goes, Dylan Butler, and MLSsoccer.com with Dylan. And so, yes, the Xavier Gozo piece is available at MLSsoccer.com. And keep an eye out for Dylan's byline and all of his thoughts going forward. I know that we've kind of hit a bunch of different nerves when it comes to reffing down here with our discussion with Bart and everything involving Argentina and Egypt. And, I mean, that's what the Twitch pitch is for. I have all of you guys just letting everybody else know what's going on so you can have a conversation as much as we are having a conversation with all of our folks on this end. So it is the final half hour before we go into added time, trust me, because there might be stuff to talk about. And what I'm going to do is I started last night, and I'm trying to figure out a way to show this and not get into any kind of branding trouble. All right, so let me do this. All right, so low part of the screen, you'll notice that there's a cardboard box, and I'm only showing the top of the cardboard box. The mother-in-law for the birthday, she got me my first box of 50 for the Panini stickers. And so I don't want to show a logo, and I don't want to show a competition logo so I don't get in any trouble. What we might do, I opened my first 10 last night. So I have 40 packets to go. We may open a couple on the air to end the show this morning. But I have so far in my opening of the first 10, I have never gotten more Bosnia-Herzegovina, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghanaian. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of the African continent commons. I will say that right now. I do have I have a double Chris Richards. I do have an Alex Freeman. I do have another couple that I do have a Sun Heung-min. But I've gotten a lot of the commons and a lot of the commons from the African continent in my first 11 packs. I do have a Kevin Pina from Cabo Verde. That one I was really proud of. So that is, and my booklet apparently is, and Abby says she's got a booklet. I think the mother-in-law is getting me the hardback. I think it's being delivered today. Either way, I'm going to have a booklet, and I'm going to start. See, this is the thing. And this might be opening kickoff here in the final half hour. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied. Notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Because the most important story is the game of the day is my Panini, starting my Panini booklet. My problem in all of this is that I'm so used to baseball cards, and I'll give you another example here. I have a Pete Runnels 1950. I think this is a 52. I think this is a 1952 Topps Pete Runnels here on the piano. So this is a 1952 Pete Runnels when he was with the Washington Senators. Centner. He shows you where my brain is. So this is a 1952 Pete Runnels, and got it in an auction. There's an auction house in Wisconsin that has entirely too much of my money. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get every card from 1980 to 1950 in baseball. That is my life goal. And what I'm doing is I'm getting a lot of bulk buys in the commons, and so that way all I'm doing is needing to get stars to finish up the sets, because that's the those are the ones that are most expensive. So what I would do is I'll buy up all the commons in a set and then get to the point to where maybe, get all the commons and then worry about the stars later. That's my approach. So yeah, this is a 1952 Pete Runnels from Topps that I have here because I recently got it at auction for like $3. But my problem is with the Panini, and I'm getting around to this, is my problem with the Panini sticker set is that I still am trying to treat it like baseball cards. So Walgreens, Abby, or Walgreens or Amazon. That's where you get your stickers. Thanks for coming in. So what my problem is that with these Panini stickers, I still am predicated on treating them like baseball cards. So it is going to be the hardest thing in the world for me to peel them and put them in whatever book because I'm so used to having baseball cards. I'm not used to sacrificing a backing to plaster it in a book to have the set. So that's my main problem with all this stuff. So, I mean, so far, just to give you an idea, Santi Arias, Alexis Vega with a blue background, and apparently the ones with the blue backgrounds and the red backgrounds are more valuable. And there's also the refractor cards. Morata, Balbuena, Atizigi from Ghana, Thomas Partey from Ghana, Turkey, Sweden, Ibrahim Bayesh from Iraq, Shalanoglu from Turkey, literally back-to-back in one card pack. I got Muharemovic and Bayraktarovic from Bosnia-Herzegovina, Joris Kayembe from DR Congo, Joe Bell, Kukureya, the team sticker for Japan, Davinson Sanchez, Shamuradov from Uzbekistan. But yeah, I got so many commons. And then I'll get like a Santi Jimenez, and there's my Sun Young Min. There's my Sun Young Min right there. So Apollos from South Africa. But yeah, and Angel Romero, and so Sander Berga, Chris, and there's my Chris Richards. That's one of my 2 Chris Richards. So literally, I end up getting a lot more commons, and most of them from the African continent so far in the first 10 packs that I've opened. Don't have a whole lot of stars yet, but we might open 1 or 2 before we go off the air today. So that's the latest there. All right, let's get you back into the highlights from yesterday. And we're going to have a little fun. And I'm going to be doing it a couple of different ways. And we have the 3 goals, and they're coming from 3 separate sources. The first one is when Egypt had a 2-0 lead, and then you end up with the Cuti Romero header to make it 2-1. This is the call from FDP Radio, and Diego Pesolano on the call to make it 2-1. Here's their call from yesterday afternoon.
Que está completamente desconocida y la lleva Messi. Y la pincha en área, gol de Nico. ¡Cuti! ¡Gol! De Argentina, lo hizo Cristian Romero, lo hizo el cordobés, mientras reclaman los hombres de Egipto de posición adelantada. Cristian Romero picó bien ubicado, le metió el paritel izquierdo a la pelota, le quebró la mano zurda a un Llover que no pudo en esta evitar la caída del descuento de la Argentina. El partido lo sigue ganando los faraones, pero ahora por 2-1 Cuti Romero, el autor del descuento.
And so that is the Diego Pesolano call from the matchup that made it 2-1 at that point. So then you go 2-1, and then the conversation that we had about Andres Cantor and his pipes, which must be preserved at all costs. When Andres Cantor is calling your match, you know it's a big deal. When you've got a Hall of Famer that has meant so much to the sport, that is the lead dog on Telemundo's coverage, you know it's a big deal. And like I said, he called the match in Seattle, flew after the match was over, got into Atlanta to call the match yesterday afternoon. And I can definitely understand with reconstituted air and all those things how you would not have a voice. And I have all 3 goals, and you could tell the man was struggling. But I'm hoping, like I said with Dylan, that between now and Nightside Saturday, he speaks no words to anyone. These man's pipes must be preserved at all costs. So here was the call on the equalizer. Andres Cantor on the call, courtesy of our friends at, Telemundo Deportes. I always forget that I'm mirrored here. So Telemundo Deportes, Andres Cantor on the call of the equalizer as the field tilted in the direction of Argentina.
Otra vez Messi, se desvía la pelota que cae al área. No pudo Julián Messi. ¡Gol! ¡Argentino! Que este equipo no te va a dejar tirado, dijo un día Messi. Que está viejo, que tiene 39, viejos son los trapos. Que está fundido. ¿Quién? El relator. Messi. Messi rescató el partido por ahora de Argentina. Argentina. Egipto 2.
Ya nada más cómo la empalma Messi. Emocionante. Le metió vértigo a Argentina y en...
And so that is the equalizer at 2-2. And then, once again, 3 goals, 13 minutes and 15 seconds. And you go from 2-2 to 3-2. And this one has been making the rounds. And one of the main play-by-play guys in Argentina is a man by the name of Pablo Giralt. And he is on TV and you name it. And Pablo Giralt is on the air. He's on the air in all caps in a lot of different places when it comes to Argentine football. So here is his call of the eventual game winner. And I've been told that this might earn us the E rating. But there were apparently some colorful metaphors because apparently in Argentina, there is no equivalent to the Federal Communications Commission. And so here is the eventual game winner, Pablo Giralt on the mic. You can go to his 280 character feed, and he's got all of his action there. And in the background, if you go and watch the video, you'll see, I think Sergio Aguero is behind him in like a second row or above him doing either broadcast or observation or what have you, guesting. But here is Pablo Giralt's call on the eventual game winner. And yes, it is what you would expect it to be for a game winner of what we were able to watch either on television, look at highlights, be there in person yesterday. Here's the Pablo Giralt call of the eventual game winner.
Balacín, ataca Egipto, la deja Balacín, abrió la cancha, a defender Argentina ahora, a defender Argentina ahora, va Egipto, busca el remate en arco, presiona Alexis, va hacia el medio, toma la pelota Tia, la cambia Tia, busca Salah, va Salah, sin foul, y ahora muy bien Julián, lo que ha jugado Julián, cambiara, va eso, lo va corriendo Lautaro, la corre Lautaro. Va Lautaro, corría Enzo un lado, Lautaro el otro, la mete Lautaro para Enzo, centro. ¡Gol! Argentino viejo va, golazo Enzo. Argentina de mi vida, Argentina de mi corazón. Señoras y señores, 47-20. Argentina 3, Egipto 2. Argentina 3, Egipto 2. Vamos, Argentina de mi vida. Argentina lo da vuelta, lo perdió 2-0. Lo gana 3-2. Acá está el campeón del mundo. Acá está el campeón del mundo. Estamos juntos. Más juntos que nunca por Telefe. Nunca abandonaremos, nunca hay que luchar hasta el final. Señoras y señores, Argentina 3, Egipto 2. Reclaman falta los jugadores egipcios. El comienzo de la acción. El gol de Enzo Fernández. Lo gana Argentina 3-2. Mi querido Juan Pablo. Gana Argentina 3-2. Centro Lautaro. Gol de Enzo y adentro.
Pablo Giroult on the call for the eventual game winner in the matchup that started the day yesterday at Atlanta Stadium. So from there, you get that matchup that had all of the excitement that it had, and you go to Vancouver, and it was Darren Fletcher and Owen Hargreaves on the call on Big FOX. They were subjected to 120 minutes that went to penalties between Switzerland and Colombia. Here is the game winner in PKs, and once again is brought to us by our friends at Telemundo Deportes. We go to the bottom of the fifth, and here's your clincher.
De Vargas a Vargas, Rubén y Camilo frente a frente. Le va a pegar Rubén, Vargas le va a pegar, le pegó. ¡Gol de Suiza! Que vence a Colombia desde los penales y se va a enfrentar a Argentina en cuartos de final de la Copa del Mundo.
Se cita nuevamente con la historia suiza. Termina el sueño para Colombia. Lo dio absolutamente todo. Tuvo como liquidarlo. Tuvo como matar el partido ante Suiza. ¿Lo pudo perder? Sí, también lo pudo perder. Lo jugó bien, lo compitió bien, pero al final los penales una vez más alejan a Colombia de escribir una historia grande. Los penales una vez más le roban el sueño a esta selección Colombia.
And there you go. That was how Switzerland advanced, and they are now in the round of 8. Juice boxes as we have them tomorrow. Today is that rarest of birds, the off day. FIFA recognizing that it is a can champ day and that they monopolize the calendar. Tongue firmly planted in cheek. It is a can champ quadruple header, by the way. And you can catch it on our friends over at One Soccer. France tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Decided favorite, no real surprise. They are a minus 175 to win in 90 minutes. And then that matchup, as we sit here and flip through, that one's going to be between Providence and Boston proper. That's going to be at Foxborough. And that one is going to be in the afternoon. That one's going to be in the afternoon, and it will be the France and Morocco will be your first one, and that will be a 4 o'clock kick in Foxborough tomorrow afternoon. Then Friday you get one. 3 o'clock, it is Spain right now at a minus 159. Belgium is a plus 490. And it is going to be 90-minute draw plus 295. That one, once again, is Friday. And that one is at SoFi. So that's the other half. That's the upper half of the bracket. Lower half of the bracket, both of them, if I could get my upper plate to work, are going to be Saturday. Saturday late afternoon, 5 o'clock kick, Norway and England. England a minus 116. Draws a plus 270. Norway is a plus 330. I can't wait to see what the back line of England, even though they do have Premier League experience against Erling Haaland, what that looks like trying to pin him in. Then the late game, 21 means 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern. Argentina minus 141 hosting Switzerland. 90-minute draws a plus 260. Switzerland is a plus 490. And so those four will be Thursday 1, Friday 1, Saturday 2, Picks of the week will be determined today in the medio. You will have something involving the matchup. You will also have a prop. You will have a prop bet plus the tiebreaker. So that'll be posted in the Discord for those of you who are participating in the medio. And next week, it is going to be the tail end. It'll be the end of the medio. It will be matchups involving the third place game and the final, props included, and then the medio winner will be decided. After that, we go to the clausura for picks of the week in the Discord, and then that goes until MLS Cup, through the conference finals. Then the winners in the Apertura, the Medio, and the Clausura will play in Campeón de Campeones. That'll be strictly MLS Cup. And then you'll get a warm, high, and hearty handshake for winning in 2026. We'll take a couple of weeks off and then get back at it when the sprint season kicks back in for Picks of the Week in 27. So that's the rundown of Picks of the Week. Once again, thanks to everybody who participates in that. What did I do last week? So last week, let's see, 288, 188, 288, 188, 88, 188, 288. So I ended up with a plus 288 with the matchups. And now we move on to the next week of the Medio. Those will be posted probably after the show, early afternoon today, to get you ready for tomorrow, Friday, and the doubleheader on Saturday. So remember, matchup plus prop. So we'll keep an eye on those. All right. What to watch, where to watch, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And today's going to be pretty easy. Other than the Can Champ quadruple header, you actually have Champions League qualifiers on ESPN+. Kairat Almaty and Sudjeska is at 11 in the morning, so coming up here in like 3 minutes. 2 matches in USL Championship, Hartford Athletic, Orange County, Sacramento Republic, and Rhode Island. USL League One, you've got Greenville and Sarasota Paradise, and Cosmos and Naples, both at 7 o'clock. Those are on the plus. You have Fox O&E with 3 of the 4 matches in the Can Champ. The early evening match is not on Fox O&E. Fox Soccer Plus has the early one, Saint Laurent and Forge from Stade Saputo, and the Vancouver FC CF Montreal matchup is at 10 o'clock. So Fox Soccer Plus has both of those, but not all 4. The only way that you can pick up all 4 is by with a subscription to One Soccer, onesoccer.ca, of which we have full disclosure. So that is what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it by our friends at Fanatis. fntz.co/soccer down here. You get with that link. That link is important. It helps them out, helps us out, helps you out when it comes to adding streaming services and matches to your portfolio that you get to watch from South America. A lot of A and B divisions across the continent. You have the opportunity to get TV if you want it. But if you subscribe to a cable service here in the footprint at SDH, you probably can get it it's already on your cable if you already have it, the Hispanic package. So you get that. You get CDO Plus out of Chile. You get TSA out of Argentina. You get Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You end up with all the BNs, and I mean all the BNs, because you get all their activity in Middle East and North Africa. You get Libertadores. You get Sudamericana. With TSA, you get Copa Argentina. You also get the LPF broadcast across the board. You have everything in CAF. You have AFCON. You're going to get WAFCON coming up in a couple of weeks. That promotion has already started from CAF itself. They've already started getting everybody prepped for that tournament. We'll see if we can effort some folks. We'll probably catch up with our friend Ali Howarth and get the latest about what's going on in WAFCON. You get the European activity and leagues play with our friends at BN. You get the French League, the Turkish League, and you get the Polish League. I don't know if they're going to be adding anything coming up next season, but that's what you got last year. So all of that stuff is important, and it helps us out, helps you out, and helps them out when it comes to seeing all the streaming services and all the things that you're looking for. All at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Jorge Jesus is being eyed as the new Portugal head coach. Keep an eye on that. The U.S. men and women get an equal split of the $16 million in prize money from FIFA. This is from Jeff Kassouf as of last night. Split evenly between the 26 men on the U.S. roster and the 26 women who make next year's U.S. roster for the 27 Women's World Cup should the Americans qualify. Men's and women's players equally share World Cup prize money under terms of the CBA, ratified by U.S. Soccer, with both national teams in 22, ratified following 6 years of the women's team fighting and suing U.S. Soccer. Per the CBA, U.S. Soccer keeps 20% of the prize money from each World Cup. So that means $3 million to U.S. Soccer. Prize money and then the remaining 80% split equally, $6.4 million a team and just over $246,000 a player. Same split between the federations and the men's and women's teams will apply to the Women's World Cup prize money collected by the U.S., obviously with catches. According to Kassouf, women first have to qualify, widely assumed. They need to defeat El Salvador November 27th in a win and in CONCACAF quarterfinal. Second, according to Jeff, the above per player payout for players should grow slightly, assuming qualification by the women. CBA requires payments of the men's players' prizes by the federation within 31 days of U.S. Soccer's receipt of the money from FIFA. However, since the U.S. women still need to qualify for the World Cup and the 26 players would not be confirmed until next spring, the $6.4 million due the women's players is to be placed in an interest-bearing account, according to the CBA. So that is that is the distribution of the funds for U.S. Soccer. Zlatko Dalic has stepped down following their World Cup exit. That happened about an hour and a half ago. The Croatian Football Federation announced that. And basically on the 280, it was 3 sentences. So Zlatko Dalic out as a Croatian head coach. Then the U.S. lost set betting records, apparently. Big profits for the house. No real surprise. And see if there are any actual numbers. Caesars Sportsbook's head of soccer, Mark Bickerdijk, noted 81% of the handle was behind the U.S. to qualify for the next round. Substantial number of wagers backed Folarin Balogun to score amid his inclusion in the match. Cipollini added the specific line for the Belgium match, which saw the U.S. come in at a minus 130 favorite. According to DraftKings, made it especially profitable for the book. American bettors more enticed to bet on the tight line rather than an abnormally large favorite or an underdog. Noted the game was one of the biggest winners this year, regardless of sport. Bickerdijk called it, quote, a better night for the book after it got hammered during the U.S. wins. At Circa in Vegas, one bettor placed a $750,000 wager on the U.S. to advance at a minus 130. No actual numbers posted. France is the current favorite to win the World Cup at a plus 180 at DraftKings, Spain a plus 370, Argentina a plus 420, and England a plus 470. So that's the rundown of profit and loss. It's the P&L for the P&L for the books. Now getting into all of the transfer news and talk and stuff, official words, trending rumors. PSG, Spurs, and Chelsea vying for Folarin Balogun, according to Foot Mercato. Monaco have already drawn up a list of possible replacements for Balogun and have submitted a €15 million bid to sign Nantes' Matisse Ablin. MLS clubs have made calls to look into the availability of Mo Salah, who's been a free agent since the expiry of his Liverpool contract, recorded also gets attention from the Saudi Pro League, according to Fabrizio Romano. Remember, San Diego had been initially linked way back when it was announced that Salah was not returning. Barcelona manager Hansi Flick has no doubt Julian Alvarez is the striker that the club need to sign, according to Mundo Deportivo. Lewandowski out. Alvarez is desired as the replacement. Barcelona chiefs Deco and Joan Laporta also remain committed to sign him, especially as he's put pressure on Atleti to let him join for a fee of over €100 million. Chelsea winger Alejandro Garnacho could join various former Manchester United teammates moving to Napoli, according to Team Talk. monitoring the situation there. Could also go to Saudi Arabia if the right sporting and financial package is presented. Chelsea now prepared to listen to offers, are not interested in sending him out on loan. Emi Martinez is still Juve's priority option as they look to sign a new number one, according to Sky Italia. After discussions yesterday, Juve is going to meet with his agent to determine the costs involved before reaching an agreement with Villa. Guillermo Vicario from Spurs is the alternative right now. We mentioned other done deals. Arsenal have signed Swiss midfielder Geraldine Rudler from Eintracht Frankfurt on a free. Latest arrival at Arsenal following the recent signings of Georgia Stanway and Selena Cerci. Other rumors, Ilan Melier is set to join Arsenal following the expiration of his contract at Leeds. That's from Sky. Tuttosport, Dusan Vlahovic and Juve both open to reuniting after his contract with the Bianconeri was allowed to expire. Marca says that Barca are making a final push to sign Portugal fullback Joao Cancelo from Al Hilal following the expiry of his loan. They also say Atletico de Madrid accelerating their efforts to sign Sporting midfielder Morten Hjulman for €50 million in the hopes of having him available for the start of preseason on Monday. Newcastle set to open talks with Freiburg over a move for Swiss midfielder Johan Manzabi. That's from Ornstein et al. At The Athletic. Mateo Moreto, Real Betis, and Ajax remain in the race to sign free agent midfielder Dani Ceballos while he was offered to Villarreal, but isn't their priority. Team talk, Jed Spence from Spurs, latest right back being considered by Everton. Also looking at Strasbourg's Guela Doué, Atalanta's Raul Bellanova, Arsenal's Ben White, and West Ham's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Gazzetta, AC Milan went gank attacking midfielder Konstantinos Karetsas, but his transfer would cost them €40 million. Fabrizio Romano says Milan also have a verbal with Lazio to sign center back Mario Gila, who will join on a 5-year deal. Sky Deutschland, Como are close to completing a deal to sign Borussia Dortmund right back Jan Couto on loan with a €20 million option to make the move permanent. Fiorentina leading the race to sign Victor Valdepenas, but Jose Mourinho still look to keep the defender at Real Madrid. That's from Sky Italia. Marca, again, Real Madrid have informed Real Valladolid of their decision to exercise the clause that allows them to re-sign Angel Carvajal. Nicola Shira has Internazionale interested in Hellas Verona midfielder Abdul Alim Campaure. L'Equipe, Nice winger Mohamed Ali Cho among the names being considered by Monaco as they're preparing to lose Magnus Akliush at PSG. Nicola Shira, Napoli Cagliari interested in Catanzaro right back Constantino Favasuli, who has also been monitored by Atalanta and Torino. Now let's check the domestic and the international with a couple of our friends. Let's see what Ben Jacobs has going on this morning. And PSG's given priority to talks with Juve for a Randall Colomawani transfer. However, negotiations have stalled. PSG now in discussions with other interested clubs in England and Germany. Jesse Derry is joining Sporting on a season-long loan. Deals now in place between clubs with no buy option. And so those are the two additions that Ben Jacobs adds to us this morning. And Tom Bogert we mentioned Gabriel Peck. Galaxy get a club record fee of $12 million plus $1.5 million in add-ons, now exiting for a club record fee more than twice the original. San Diego FC has agreed to a deal to acquire midfielder Gabriel Pirani from DC United. Joined in 2023, 83 appearances. Now he gets a fresh start in San Diego. And that is the two from Tom Bogert. Let me see if there's anything in the papers that we missed before we get out of here, and I'll go through the wire copy that I have. Let's see. Jordan Henderson looks like he has had surgery. Returned to England, camp in Kansas City rather than heading home to England, and stayed behind in Mexico City after damaging his arm in a freak fall following England's last 16 win over Mexico. And Alexia Putellas has joined London City. That is confirmed. So now she goes from La Liga Femenine, two-time Ballon d'Or winner. She's now with London City. London City is stacking up a lot of folks. Jordan Henderson's photo of his left forearm is from the Kansas City Orthopedic Institute. He's in bed, right thumb up, left arm elevated, 2 surgeons, and folks hanging, 3 surgeons, 2 of them in scrubs, 1 not. Dr. Kenneth Unruh, Dr. Mark J. Winston, Dr. Kirk McCullough deserve all the credit. Surgery is done by on Jordan Henderson's behalf. So Portugal have confirmed as of less than an hour ago the departure of Roberto Martinez. And let's see. I think we're caught up, at least from the Guardian's perspective. So we mentioned the Zlatko Dalic dismissal. And yet UEFA's U19 Men's Boys Championships in the semifinals. And Spain gets Croatia. And that looks like it is going to be at 12:30. Ukraine and Germany are at Wrexham. And that one is at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So, Zlatko Dalic mentioned multiple times. And I think what we will do is we will go and see what's going on with other papers, because I think we've got everything out of the Guardian. And let's see. England players to avoid hurdling advertising boards after Freak Henderson injury. I would hope so. I literally would hope so. You see an advertising hoarding, walk around it. Walk around. Catherine Batty, the women's football reporter for The Telegraph, is doing the Pateas piece and confirmed she's going to be a regular at the stadium. Now, the question is why? Leaving Barcelona after 14 years, 10 league titles, 4 Champions Leagues. Had interest in clubs in the U.S. and Mexico. London City gets the signature. Michelle Kang, the London side is, remember, Michelle Kang is the owner of London City. London side is part of her Kaniska Sports, Washington Spirit, Lyon, London City. Kang apparently has been plotting a move, according to Batty, for Pateas for some time, understood to have made her an eye-watering financial offer that would make her one of the highest-paid players in the world. So, financial element is one reason why Pateas will turn 33 next year, is joining London City. Challenge of playing in the WSL. Barcelona win Liga F each season. England offers greater competition. Also has friends at the club, including international teammate Yana Fernandez. The drawback is that the club finished 6th last season, not in Champions League. They would need to find a way around UEFA's rule that blocks clubs under the same ownership from taking part in the competition. Pateas has also been able to overlook the club's fan base, pales in comparison to Barcelona, and that Grace Guilloro has struggled since swapping PSG for London City. 21 goals across all comps last year, in line to win her 3rd Ballon d'Or after getting another quadruple for Barcelona. Pateas and Mary Earps are now part of London City, and Kang has described Pateas' decision as a, quote, powerful endorsement of what we are building at London City and Kaniska. More than a signing, it is a bold statement about the future of our sport. And so you now have Michelle Kang hiring Markel Zubizarreta, former Barcelona sporting director, made him global sporting director of Kaniska. And last summer, London City signed Fernandez from Barcelona, while Lyon took defender Ingrid Engen. London City posted a record operating loss of £10.6 million for the 24-25 season. Other figures at the clubs who believe the fees and wages being spent are distorting the market. But it is now a new era, as Alexia Pateas is now at London City. All right, let's check the wires before we get out of here. And once again, it will be Atlanta Soccer tonight with Jason. We'll get your time frame all locked down, and we will get you squared away with all that. What's up with Thomas Mueller? The All-Star roster is now out. On the whole, Major League Soccer has announced, well, shoot, it's the first time that we've been able to do this for a while. So I think what we're going to do is hit the appropriate sounder, because it has been a while since we have done all right, here we go. Here's your sounder. All-star rosters out for Major League Soccer. And keepers are Crepeau, Matt Freese, and Brian Schwacke. Defenders, Arston, Harrington, Richie Larea, Anthony Marcanic, Mazelli and Boazzi from Chicago, Steven Moreira, Daniel Muni, Andy Nahar, Jackson Reagan, Tim Ream. Midfielders, Berhalter, Biel, Rodrigo De Paul, Evander, Carlos Heel, Xavier Gozo, Mukhtar, Mueller, and Ashley Westwood. And your forwards, Ugo Kuipers, Anders Dreyer, Julian Hall, Sun Young-min, Lionel Messi, Peter Musa, Sam Surridge. So voted in. So coaches' selections, Crepeau and Freese, Schwacke was voted in. Defenders, coaches picks, Arston, Harrington, Richie Larea was a commissioner's pick. Voted in Marcanic and Mbowazi. Moreira was a coach selection along with Muni. Nahar was voted in. Ream was voted in. Jackson Reagan was a coach's selection. Midfield, Berhalter voted in. Biel, Rodrigo, Evander, Carlos Heel, all coaches selections. Voted in Gozo and Mukhtar. Mueller and Westwood were coaches selections. And forwards, Kuipers voted in. Dreyer was a coach's selection. Julian Hall, a commissioner's pick. Sun Young-min voted in. Leo Messi voted in. Coaches selections, Musa and Surridge. So that is where the MLS roster is now complete. Play kicks back in on Thursday for some clubs, Friday for others. So yeah, now that everyone is completely and totally just smashing the inbox with all of the selections for the for all of us. So yes, we're getting all of the notes. Let's see if there's anything else that I am missing here. From Talk Sport, there's a new update on the 115 charges on the board for Manchester City. A hearing into the 130 against the Premier League side concluded in December of 24. City were first charged with 115 allegations breaching FFP in February of 23. Additional 15 later tacked on to take the amount to 130. Stefan Borzen, providing an update, joining one of the morning talk shows at Talk Sport, was asked if it was fair City have signed Elliot Anderson for £116 million, despite the charges hanging over them. Borson responded by explaining, well, it's fair because what do you want City to do to stop everything whilst the whole case is ongoing? Case has been ongoing for many years and it's not acceptable, but there's no decision in the case. Last I heard, probably the end of June, and there didn't seem to have been a decision. It may have come since, but even so, 19, 20 months, we're now at the edges of whatever happens in any of these cases. Arbitration cases can last up to 24 months in some instances, meaning a verdict may not be announced before November. So keep an eye out since we're like month 19 and 20 of a 24-month process. So there's Pateas. That has been signed. And let's see. Leo Messi now breaks the assist record. He's now at 21-9 all time in the World Cup. I think that's going to do it for today. Actually, let me check and double see. Let me double check and see when Atlanta Soccer Tonight is tonight. And we will let you know what is going on there. Programming update Friday morning at 9:30. It looks like we are going to have Stephen Wagner of the NPSL joining us because the NPSL released this morning, provided it would, show up. The NPSL exploring a member-owned league structure. NPSL believes responsibility of a national league extends beyond sporting competition. Publicly sharing their vision, the league continues its evaluation of a new organizational structure designed to strengthen the league, create greater value for the member clubs, and expand opportunities for commercialization, partnerships, and innovation. NPSL Chairman Stephen Wagner is going to be joining us at 9:30 on Friday morning. NPSL currently operates as a nonprofit 501c6. The proposal under evaluation would transition the league to a member-owned structure where the league member clubs would collectively own the league while continuing to maintain complete ownership of their individual clubs, brands, intellectual property, local sponsorships, and community identities. And so Board of Directors believes this approach has the potential, and this is from the release this morning, has the potential to enhance commercialization, foster strategic partnerships, strengthen owner retention, attract experienced ownership groups, and establish the NPSL as one of the nation's leading member-owned soccer platforms. League membership going to evaluate the proposal through the next phase of the review process in anticipation of the 27th season. So we're going to have Stephen Wagner, the chairman of the NPSL, joining us 9:30 on Friday morning to get you squared away for the weekend. So all of the All-Star roster has been named. All of that stuff is out there in the open, and I think we are all effectively caught up on anything and everything that is going on around the planet. So, John, will you please let everybody know about a couple of things? So, Dalic stepping down. We confirmed Amadou Onana. Decatur Watch Fest, by the way, they have cleared 140,000 visitors. July 9th through the 19th, every World Cup match for free on the big screens, no tickets, 7 concerts, including a July 19 set from the Indigo Girls. DecaturWatchFest26.com is where you can find out the latest there. So we mentioned Pirani, we mentioned Palacio, we mentioned Gotham yesterday, and it is tonight, 10 o'clock, 92.9 The Game on the Odyssey app. Jarrett joins Jason to go through the takeaways of the USMNT in the summer, what the round 16 leaves behind, what comes next. And so it is big USMNT, 92.9 The Game, Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel with Jason and Jarrett tonight for AST. And that is your next stage in all of this, in addition to enjoying all the the Canadian Championship that's going to start at 3 o'clock this afternoon, quadruple header on One Soccer if you are so inclined, or if you have ways to watch on the FOXs. So tomorrow, once again, wall-to-wall, Power Hour in hour number 2. Power Hour is in hour number 2. Then it is Keeler Hodges at 9:30 to break down everything going on in the USL because they didn't stop while we were gone. And then leading off tomorrow, it is an opportunity to catch up with some of the folks responsible for the Raising Her Game docuseries that is currently out on Tubi, and it has to do with Title IX women's soccer and the U.S. soccer landscape through the prism of the Texas Longhorns winning the conference championship back in 2022. So that'll be leading off. Keeler Hodges, the USL show at 9:30, Power Hour in hour number 2 to break down everything there. So that is what's going on tomorrow. And then we'll have a full Friday as well. We'll get you ready for everything going on. Review preview at 9 to 9:30. Then we'll catch up with the NPSL at 9:30. Our friends from Apple TV at 10. And Jake Griffith at 10:30 with the USLW League in their semifinals. Play-by-play voice for Minnesota Aurora as they get ready for their matchup against Salmon Bay. We're tracking down the other 3 teams, Salmon Bay and the Eastern Conference final, Asheville City and Vermont Green. So that's the rundown over the next couple of days. And if it can't be live, keep an eye out and set your notifications for podcasts and things that come out all across the network. So that's another go-round of SDH AM. Morning, Greg. Great to see you here. Morning, Will. Morning, Abby. Will and Abby were very, very busy this morning. Let's see. So, wow, it was Will and Abby. Morning, David. And let's see. Morning, Michael. We got to take care. Well, can we take care of Wispy and EXE? I don't think so because that was only on the YouTubes. So, morning, Wiley. Morning, Michael. And wow, we got a couple of bots in here this morning. Yes, Aperture, according to Wiley. Yes, that is a word of the day. So Michael and David and Abby and Michael Head and Abby doesn't like the stutter step. And let me see if we've missed anybody else. Dr. D, Doctro Don is in this morning. And then Greg is in this morning. Never do I want to hear Golden Generation again. So, and then let's see, Dr. D and all of our friends. So as always, thanks for coming in, guys, as you always do. Thanks for being a part of our process when it comes to being a part of the Twitch pitch, and we value you every single day. And it's great to have all of you in here to have conversations with us and to have conversations with each other. So once again, tonight, Atlanta Soccer Tonight, 92.9 The Game, Odyssey app, 92.9 The Game YouTube channel, 10 o'clock, 10 to midnight. And Jason and Jarrett from 10 to 11 will be on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. And the YouTube channel, stoppage time takes over at 11 o'clock. And it will be Jarrett and Jason in stoppage time. Be very afraid. It's another go round of this show. We're back at it again, 9:05. Very, very full Thursday. Very, very full Friday. I'll break it all down for you here. Enjoy your off day today, unless you want to watch the Can Champ. Since it is the end of the show, that means we get to do one thing. I get to do this. Mucha plati, I'll play it safe. We will catch up with you tonight for AST, tomorrow morning for another go round of SDH AM for Thursday Thoughts. Mucha plati, I'll play it safe. We go here now.